So the Commanders Lions, thank you. The Commanders
Yeah.
Lions is Saturday night. The Commanders finished 12-5. The Detroit Lions finished 15-2. Also, I'll tell you what, I said that people were making the case, did Jaden Daniels have the best rookie season for a quarterback ever and all this kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. I said that he didn't even have the best one in his in his own franchise with the Commanders. I don't know. Looking at these numbers, looking at that record, Jaden Daniels finishes the season with a 69% completion percentage.
Nice.
Nice. Almost 3,600 yards, about 30 yards away from it. 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He also rushed for 9 yards short of 900 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. I think you can honestly make the case he had the best rookie season for a quarterback ever. I think I was too crass.
You were.
Yeah.
He's had an amazing season.
Yeah, I still think Brock Bowers should win because, again, Jaden Daniels had a great rookie quarterback season. Brock Bowers had one of the best tight end seasons ever in the history of the NFL. But again, it's a quarterback award. We can stop pretending it isn't. But now let's look at this game. The last time these two teams have met was in 2022. So completely different teams for both of them. So we can't even count that because the other three matchups this playoff season have all met this season. So at least we have something to go off of. But with the with the Commanders Lions, it's a completely different ball game. Honestly, when you look at these two teams on paper, the offenses are damn near identical. It really comes down to defense, and Commanders finished as a top 15 defense. Lions finished as the 20th ranked defense. How do you see this one playing out, Casino?
It's really going to come down to, in my opinion, the rush game of the Lions, especially with Montgomery looking like he's going to be back for this game. He's been getting some practices in that. Even without him, Jamar Gibbs going up against this Washington running defense, that's where I think the key factor is here. So I think that Washington is going to have a hard time stopping Gibbs. I think the Lions O-line is going to be able to make enough pockets for him. And then on the flip side of that, I know Jaden Daniels has been good and great for this season, honestly, for a rookie. And with Detroit getting some of their players back on defense, I think they're going to see a whole different light of pressure coming at them. So we're going to have to see how Daniels handles that.
Yeah, I think when you look at this game, it really comes down to, again, much like the Texans, the Commanders have allowed 50 sacks this season. And again, you have the added factor of Jaden Daniels is a much more mobile quarterback than CJ Stroud is. And him being 100 yards short of 1,000 yards on the season proves that.
Yeah, we're just going to have to see what he's going to be on the scramble, I think, fairly often. And we're going to have to see how he handles moving outside the pocket and getting some throws in. So this is going to be tough for Jaden, but I'll just jump to it. I'm going to pick the Lions on this one at home. I know this has got a really good potential to be an upset. I think all the teams left are all really good teams, except for the Texans, but I'm still picking them. And wouldn't shock me if Washington came in and took care of the Lions, but I think the Lions being at home, I think Goff is just too high a caliber than Jaden Daniels, and we'll see how this plays out. But I do think Goff and Jamar Gibbs puts up some numbers against this Washington team.
Yeah, I think this is going to be eerily similar to the Bills-Lions game, but the Lions are going to be the Bills in that scenario where it's just going to be kind of a shootout where the Lions honestly just out-talent, out-muscle, outperform the Commanders. I said when we were recording the TikTok, also RIP TikTok, probably going to be gone by Monday. So follow us till then. But I do think what I said to theirs makes the most sense for me when looking at all the numbers and stuff for this game. The Lions are a great team. The Commanders are a great story. So I just think that when it comes to the great team, always beats the great story, especially when, it's not the fluky things we've seen in the playoffs where it's like the Giants beating the Bills with Hostetler or Foles beating your Patriots. It's like those things happen in very minute situations. And then it's just, yeah, I just think the Lions, again, all season have been stewing on the fact that this is basically where their season ended last year. Now, obviously, it was in the NFC Championship, but yeah, like this has been the moment they've been waiting for the playoffs to start. This is what they've been building for. They've had a week off. They got the number 1 seed. They've had all this time to stew on it. I just think Ben Johnson's getting most head coaching interviews, opportunities. His name's linked to it because he's a great offensive coordinator. So now you're giving him extra time to go against a Commanders team that, again, their defense has improved. It's still not an elite defense. They're middle of the road, which is, again, what I say is the threshold for them to be a Super Bowl team. But much like I said for months, and then I kind of reneged on it, Casino, is I couldn't see Sam Darnold holding up the Super Bowl trophy. I can't see the Commanders, Jaden Daniels, this year holding up the Super Bowl trophy, especially after they go through the Lions and then they have to go through the Eagles and then they have to go through probably the Chiefs. So I don't know. I just can't make the case why this Commanders team wins. I think in a shootout, it's Lions. In a close game that's like a defensive battle, I still think it's the Lions.
You know what's crazy? And see, I would differ there. If it's a close game, I would pick Washington. I would pick they have. I was listening to the call on again driving around today, and apparently J Max said that it's seven games this year they have won by within the last, I think they said last 6 seconds of the game. Whether it's a stop on like a 2-point conversion try, they've had the field goals, they had the Hail Mary. So that's insane to me that they have won the game, whether it's via stop, a touchdown, a field goal, whatever it may be, with 6 seconds left in the game, and they've won. Like that's crazy. That's really insane numbers to think about. So if it's a close game, I'm going to be like, okay, Washington can get this done. Look what they just did against Tampa too. Just last second field goal.
Yeah. I think my only pushback on that would be we've seen in the history of the NFL so many teams like that where it's like, oh, they're the cardiac fill in the blank and they always win on the last second and all that stuff. Those teams never do that in the playoffs. Those teams
they've already done it once in the playoffs.
Yeah, but that wasn't like a come from behind victory that they stole in the last minute.
If they do it, well, kind of. It was.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say they stole. I'm saying that game was tied, and
they forced a fumble to tie it, and then they went down and won.
No, but the Buccaneers, what is it? If they go for it on 4th down right there instead of kick the field goal, they most likely win that game. Again, I don't think this is like everybody was counting the Commanders out. This was the game last week where it was like Commanders Bucks, and it was like people were like 50-50 on it. This isn't, I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm still picking the Lions, but
yeah,
if it was close, I'm definitely going to be watching that game. Not just because it's a close game, but I would be fearful for the Lions if it's within a score and Jaden Daniels has a ball within 4 minutes.
That, that I actually agree with. If it is a shootout, I think the Lions win that matchup 100 times out of 100. I think if it is a close game, like we saw the Buccaneers game, I don't think I would worry the Lions would lose, but I'd be more worried that the Commanders would like squeak one out more than the Lions would. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I mean, with now countering that, just as I think about it, the coaching staff and the coaching caliber and game management of the Lions probably won't get them in that situation, though.
Well, but also I could see a scenario where we're talking on next week's podcast, or I'm talking on the Sunday show about some dumb boneheaded mistake that Dan Campbell made where they went for a 4th down when they shouldn't have, and then the Commanders used that to their advantage. They stopped them, went down for the game-winning score. Like that's entirely possible from what we've seen from, you know, this Lions team. But again, also what we've seen from this Lions team is it's like, unlike the Chargers game where they turn the ball over 5 times, they get blown out. We've seen Lions games this season where the offense has turned the ball over a ridiculous amount of times and they still win. So the Lions just know how to win. And again, I think the only team that can compete with them in the NFC is the Eagles, just in terms of how they're built. We even saw with the Vikings, it was like, yeah, the Vikings are also a good team, but I
Right, but
never
you
thought they
said
were
the Eagles
built
can
to
take
beat
them.
the
You said
Lions.
that the Eagles are better than the Lions and they could take them. So
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The Eagles are the only team in the NFC that I legitimately feel like are built to beat the Lions. I don't think the Commanders, if you look at it, just step back and look at the picture, I don't think the Commanders are built to beat the Lions. I think the Lions are built to basically beat everybody except the Eagles, because I think the Eagles play the style of football that the Lions don't want to play, which is that smash mouth, control the clock, slow your offense down, and just kind of get into a mud fight. And I
gotcha.
don't think that's how the Commanders do it.